Hello everyone and welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Divine and if this is your first time here, you are welcome to Styles by Andre. Also, if you're a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you for stopping by once again. So today's tutorial, I'll be showing us how to create this beautiful fabric rose here using an organdy fabric. So if this is something you're interested in, don't go anywhere and let's get started. So I'm having 1 yard of my organdy fabric here. The first thing I'm going to do is to open up my organdy fabric, then fold it into two. So after folding it into two, I'm going to be marking a width of 6 inches. I'm going to mark it all the way. Now you can use 5 inches depending on the size of rose you want to create. But for today's tutorial, I'm going to be using 6 inches for the width of this fabric. After marking it out, I'm going to cut it out. Then I'll also cut out the rough edge on this side. Now I'll open up my fabric now and measure the total length I'm having. And by the time I measure that, I'm having 59 inches. So I'm having 59 inches for the length of my fabric here. What I will do next now is to fold this fabric into two like so. After which I'm going to be using my pin to pin in place. Because this fabric is very light and is not staying in place, I'm going to use my pin to support the fabric. After which I'm going to be drawing out a curve, starting from the part that is on fold. I'm going to draw out a curve like so, then cut it out. So the reason why we're making this edge like so is because we don't want the tip or the starting point of our rose to be as wide as the bodies. So we're trying to make it small, so the middle part of our rose is small before we get to the main bodies that is now big. I hope you understand that. So after cutting it out, I'm going to sew with 0.25 inches. Then I'll go to the other side and repeat the same process. I'll fold the fabric into two, then pin it in place. After pinning, I'm going to draw out my curve. Then cut it out. After which I'll take it to my machine and sew with 0.25 inch. Okay, so I've done that here and this is what I'm having after sewing. I've done that for the both sides. What I'll do next is to turn it over to the right side like so. Then I'm going to take it to my weaving machine to weave the edges of this fabric because it's fraying. So I'm going to weave the edges all the way to the end, after which I'm going to run a straight stitch, a straight loose stitch, so we can draw gathers on this fabric. So I've done that for the whole 1 yard. I'm going to use one to show us how to go about the rows. I'll set this other one aside. So this is it here. I've drawn out my gather stitch and I've also weaved the edge of our fabric so it will stop pulling. Now I'm going to be drawing my gathers. So these stitches here needs to be loose so we can draw gathers. If you use your normal stitches, you won't be able to draw your gathers. So I'm going to draw my gathers on this side. I will draw on the other side also. And the measurements for these gathers, there's no measurement for these gathers. Just draw it, let it gather a bit. So there's no exact measurement for this. Just draw your gathers, and when you are okay with it, you can stop there. But make sure the fabric is not too small at the end of the day. After which, I'm going to be sewing a tight stitch on the gathers line, exactly on the gathers line I've drawn, so that the fabric does not lose after the gathers. So this is what I'm having after drawing my gathers, and I'm measuring this one piece here. I'm having 15 inches. I'm going to measure another one and I'm having 18 inches here. So you see there's no exact measurements for the gathers. Just make sure you draw your gathers a bit. So I'm going to be using this for the first illustration here, and this is my needle and thread here. I doubled the thread. So I'm going to pick up one edge, the tip of this fabric here, like so, the small tip, and place it on top of the other edge like so. Then I'll go in with my needle from underneath and tack it down. I'm going to tack the two edges together. So I picked up one edge of this rose and placed it on the other edge. Then I'll go in my needle and thread to tack the two edges together. Next, I'll hold this middle point and lap it on the other edge like so. So I'll pick it up and lap it on this other edge. The midpoint of where I've already knotted, I will lap it on the other edge. Then I'll go in with my needle and thread to tack it down. So this part is going to be a little complicated explaining it, so we need to look at it carefully. I'm going with my needle and thread. Next, I'm going to pick the middle and lap it on the other edge. So I'm not going to be pulling this fabric here. I'm just going to let it loose, like I want to do a gather. So if we make it tight, the lower fabric is going to be entering inside, and the whole point of the rose is for the lower fabric to be bigger than the previous one. So I'll be going in with my needle and thread again to tack all the layers together. So when we're making our rose, we don't have to pull the fabric, we'll just let it be. That's why we did our gathers. We don't have to pull it, just let it be so that it can wave properly. Sometimes you can even make pleats before tacking, so it can coil more. So I'll keep on lapping it like so. So don't pull, please. So if we pull it, the lower petal is going to be smaller than previous one, and the point is for the lower petal to be bigger than the previous one. So the top of the rose is small, the next one should be bigger than the top, and like so on and so forth. So this is what we are having. And when doing this, we also have to make sure the lower petal is longer than the other petals on top. So we have to do it in a way that the lower petal is longer than the one on top. So we'll be going in with our needle and thread at each stage. And for the last one, we're going to hand tack again. So guys, if we don't understand it, please watch the video again for better understanding. So we're going to hand tack, and after tacking our fabric in place, we're going to turn it over to the back and go in with our needle and thread again to do the final tacking so that our rose does not lose. After which, I'm going to knot it, then cut out my thread, and you can see how beautiful our rose is. So I'm going to be knotting this end. I'll go in my needle multiple times, then cut it out, and this is what I'm having for this rose. So I'm going to do that for the remaining fabrics I'm having here, and this is our rose after doing that. So I want to design this rose here so it's not just plain, and I'll be using these stones here. I'm going to be using my gum gun for this to gum the stones to the rose. So when the gum is hot, I'm going to place it, then gum my stones on it, and I'll be using the stones to cover where my needle and thread went through, and I'll also use it to cover the weaving thread that is showing there. So this is what we are having. I'll do that again. I'll use my gum. So you can use whatever gum you are working with for this tutorial, but I'm going to be using this gum gun. And this is what we are having for all our petals. Now I'm going to be tacking this on my dress here, and this is the dress I'm working with. You can decide to style this anyhow you want it to be. So this was the initial plan, but I later made it this way. I think I prefer it this way. So I'm going to hand tack this rose now on my dress. I'll hand tack it, and after doing that I'll also be tacking one here. And this is it for this tutorial. Thank you so much guys for watching, and see you in my next tutorial. Bye for now.